Hey, everything on 3. Number 3. Wait on 1. Oh, wait on 3. 1, 2, 3. Hey, next up, man. Eyes on 3. Everything on 3. 1. Everything.
You are now listening to the Fantasy Football Bros Podcast.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Fantasy Football Bros Daily Dose, also known as
the Fantasy Football Beards. Hey, guys.
What's going on?
Hey, Jess.
We took off last week because
We did. We needed a break. We were down bad.
Well,
It's not you though. You had a nice
Well,
one.
here's the thing. This is what I came up with. I came up with that I do better on the single entry games, the single game entries.
Yeah, I did as well.
So,
I didn't win as much as you did, but I did win. Nice surprise when I looked in my account.
well, you know why, Adam?
All I do is win.
You beat the hell out of me this week.
So we decided we're going to do a single entry for you guys for tonight, Thursday night. Thursday
Yes.
night, the fucking banger of a game of the same. Excuse me.
Just breathe.
The
That's about right.
Saints against the Saints against the Cardinals. So
Nice.
that's what we're going to do. So for all of you who don't know, you get five starts in this league. You have to have one player from each team. That's the rule. That's the only rule. One player from each team. You got a salary cap as per usual. And you have to pick 5 players, any position, anywhere. Just one player from each team at least. And you have an MVP, which the MVP is worth 1.5 points. So if they scored 10 points in real life, what did they actually score, Adam? 15.
15.
15. I threw you on the spot there.
You did. I'm sorry. I wasn't paying attention to
I
that.
said, Adam, how much does that? How
I
much?
was looking at my lineup.
I said,
Sorry.
Adam, how much math was that?
Oh, man.
That was a lot of math.
Okay, so we'll get started, Adam. So how about it? Who is your MVP, Mr. 1.5 points?
So my MVP, I went with Kyler Murray.
Hey there, little fella.
Yep, I did. Little Kyler Murray. And he had a very bad game last week, so I'm hoping that he can bounce back on a short week. And it's the day that the new Call of Duty comes out. Well, at least the campaign anyway. So he needs to get it in. He needs to get in a good game before that drops. And so I'm going with Kyler Murray as my MVP.
I went with Kyler Murray, but not as my MVP.
Okay.
But my MVP is Alvin Kamara.
Oh, yeah, not bad.
Guy's been catching a lot of passes lately.
He's been playing very, very well.
So I just feel like we can have a good running game, maybe get a lot of passes. So the key is here, if Kyler Murray and Alvin Kamara both have good games, you need to choose the better one and put him in your MVP.
Correct.
You know what I mean? That's the only
Right.
way that you're going to take down this target.
Exactly.
The tricks to this is having the right guy in the MVP and having some weird guy. You got to have a weird guy that nobody expects.
The weird ones are the ones that win you the game.
That's what wins you the money. The random guy that gets you 2 touchdowns or some. You know what I like to do a lot? I didn't do it this, but the kickers.
You know, I had Will Lutz in my lineup, but I took him out because I went a couple of receivers instead.
Because that's what you're going to win. Because it's just it's
And,
hard. Plus the
you know,
salary cap.
It's
You have
nice.
to-
The salary kickers are usually pretty cheap, so I wouldn't be opposed if there was a kicker in any of your guys' lineups. Imagine they don't. I mean, Arizona kicked 3 field goals last week, 9 points.
I mean, that was most of their points.
That was all their points.
Right. So did you
So-
happen to take Alvin Kamara?
I did not actually. I did not take.
Well, you
Kamara.
got my 2, Alvin Kamara as MVP and Kyler Murray.
so
Hey there, little fella.
I almost dropped my microphone hitting that drop.
So I had to pair Kyler Murray with his nice wide receiver that's coming back off suspension and DeAndre Hopkins.
Nothing wrong with that, except he's a lot of money.
He is a lot of money.
Oh, by the way, I have spent $15,000 on Alvin Kamara, $17,000 on Kyler Murray.
17,000 for Kyler, and DeAndre Hopkins was 12.5.
Okay.
12,500. My next guy. My next 3 are all Saints,
Okay.
and Chris Olave coming back from injury.
I've got Chris Olave as well.
So he was 11,000. So I went with him coming back from injury. He's been playing very well. I'm not really sure who's starting, if it's Jameis or Andy Dalton.
Doesn't seem like it
But
matters.
it doesn't matter really because he's still
It doesn't matter what.
he's still heavily targeted.
That was good,
So
wasn't it?
there it is.
I went with another. Well, I had Chris Olave at 11,000. I went
Okay.
with to pair with Kyler. I went with Rondale Moore.
That's a sneaky
A
play.
little bit cheaper.
He is.
And I actually am starting him in my one league with Hollywood Brown out. He's now the number 2, but to be quite honest, he could be the number 1 just because D-Hop's just coming back.
True, but very healthy, we think, from
Of course.
suspension.
But so just imagine,
Already been in the system, so probably knows the playbook.
but already been in the system.
he's a vet, doesn't really need
He
practice,
could
but
be a
we'll
little
see.
rusty, and
Could be, we'll see.
he could be rusty and draw a lot of attention.
I hope that's not the case, but we'll see what happens.
So
No Lattimore, though, by the way, for the Saints. So
Oh,
that could be big for
that
DeAndre
could be big.
Hopkins.
You're right.
So we'll see what happens.
So that was my 4th player for 9,000, and my final player, the weird deep player, because we already got the word that Jarvis Landry's out, Michael Thomas is out.
as
So I
well.
went with Marquez Callaway.
Okay, I like that.
He could be the guy that has 2 receptions for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns.
So
He could be that guy.
my fourth guy here, he's kind of a really hot or really cold start, and that's Taysom Hill.
Oh, jeez, right, yeah.
I went with Taysom Hill, and the only reason is because he put up an absolute stinker last week.
He sure did.
So I'm thinking that this week is going to be the Taysom Hill show. 10,500, not cheap, probably a lot more than I really wanted to spend.
That's a lot.
But my fifth guy,
Bro, that's $500 less than Olave.
true. My fifth guy is also kind of the deep guy, and I'm going with Traquan Smith here.
It doesn't matter what your name is.
We'll see who finishes higher.
Yeah, it was interesting.
So Traquan Smith is 8,000, and like you
Marquez
said,
Callaway was 7,000.
so but you paid more for Kamara.
And you paid
I
a
paid-
lot more for him.
I did pay more for Hill, but I also paid less for Hopkins than you did for Kamara. So that's kind of where we even out there.
Right,
But I
that's
had
how
1,000 left over.
So let's hear your final lineup again.
So my final lineup is little guy Kyler Murray
Hey there, little fella.
for 17,000. DeAndre Hopkins coming off suspension for 12,500, and then I went with Chris Olave coming back from injury at 11,000. Taysom Hill, who is way too high at 10,500, but we go with it
Oh,
anyway.
man.
And Traquan Smith at 8,000.
All right.
What about you?
My final was my MVP at 15,000 was Alvin Kamara. My flex is
Hey there, little fella.
Kyler Murray at 17,000. We got Chris Olave at 11,000, Rondale Moore at 9,000, and Marquez Callaway at 7,000.
Perfect. We'll see who wins.
We'll see who wins. Well, good luck, Adam.
You too, my man.
And we will see you next time on the Fantasy Football Bros, or
The Fantasy Football Beers.
this is the Daily Dose. Peace, y'all.
Later, guys.
You are now listening to the Fantasy Football Bros Podcast.
So smoke.